Well, Benny, just to start off as an introduction, I actually run Morphegenix Podcasts as a channel that actually interviews people doing interesting things within the food and agribusiness industries. So, it's a real pleasure to have you in this discussion. If you could just start off with probably, I think, an origin story regarding the company that you're working with and own at the moment.
So the one at the moment, all right, so our company is called Superfresh Foods in Canada, and it's called All Your Foods USA in the United States. We both do the same thing. So we're a professional co-packer company. So we make food in the masses, all the little tray meals that you see, we make tens of thousands of those in our various plants for various reasons. So we have our own brand in Canada called All Your Meals.
Right.
And it's a subscription-based meal prep. It's kind of a weird word why they decided to call prepared meals, I guess, meal prep. But we make a variety of those every week that people subscribe to, and we put together their order and we deliver it to them, and we make everything on site, of course. We also use our facility to do co-packing for other meal prep companies too, because the hardest thing is making the food. I mean, anybody can take a picture of a meatball and stick it online and go $10.99. You sell, half a dozen. You're in your kitchen, you make it, you put it in a thing, you send it off. Oh, that was fun and cute. And then you can make 50 of them. Oh, wow, we got to make 50. This is 50 orders. That's a lot. That's our weekend's gone. But then when it hits 500 and it hits 750 and it hits 1,000 and it hits 3,000, now you're out of your league. Now you have to bring it to a place that knows how to do that. And that's what we do. We make mass quantities of healthy, clean food for delivery, frozen and fresh.
Right, fantastic. Okay, great stuff. And what were your reasons for starting the business, Benny?
Well, my background besides rock and roll is and music is I'm an investment banker for most of my life.
Right.
I've been on Wall Street for about 18, 19 years. I just left New York about 5 years ago.
Okay.
Just because you don't need to be there anymore. And I did everything that I could do in New York City. I did. So we continued investments elsewhere. Just you can do it all through Zoom, like we're doing now today.
Right, yeah.
But when I got to Vancouver, I looked around and I thought, "What's this meal prep?" So we started to take off here. And there was a company it was for sale, and I could see why it was for sale. A couple had started it, and it got out of hand. They actually had great business. They're doing great revenue, but they had no business acumen. They had no process, and they didn't have people, right? So took it over, and we actually ended up shelving the company and just restarting a brand new one, fresh. The old company it had a silly name about cakes, and now we have one that actually sort of says what we do. All your meals. We are all your meals. Right? You can get everything for your breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, smoothies, coffee, you name it. And it's all delivered right to your door. Right? So primarily what we are is a technology company, because without the tech that we have, and we have sophisticated software that's been crafted for our needs, without it, you couldn't do this type of business. And that's what kind of allowed this business to flourish, is that the technology we have, if we have 1,000 customers and each customer is ordering 5 meals a day plus 3 snacks plus a smoothie, or for 7 days a week, try adding that up and sorting it out with pen and paper. It's impossible. So the system takes care of everything. And then when you have all those orders, because it's not just like pick one, fish or chicken. That's not, pick 14.
Wow.
14, right?
Wow.
Then you got the snacks. Then you got the regular staples. Then we have a frozen food line. So you pick all this, you put it in your cart, and the cutoff comes. And from the cutoff, we have roughly 5 days to prepare it and deliver it. So the system then tells us for the kitchen, here's the kitchen list. Out of all the dishes that we have here, they all add up. For the marinara sauce, you're going to need to make 380 gallons. That's what's required for this. Here's the amount of nuts you're going to need. Here's the amount of cheese, right? So now we know already, the system has told us, get this is what you'll need. And then it builds our prep list for us. Here's what should be prepped first. Here's what should be sauteed. Here's what needs to be baked. So without that, you're going to have people guessing. You're going to have opinions, right? And it doesn't work that way. When we're dealing with large volumes, you've got to have technology step in, right? Not just from an organizational standpoint, but also while the food's being prepared as well. Because if the consumer is told they're getting a 4-ounce piece of chicken, it needs to be a 4-ounce piece of chicken. If it's a 4.5 ounces and there's 10,000 of those going out,
wow,
that's great for them that they're getting an extra half ounce. I think for us now we're giving away 5,000 ounces of chicken, and that's expensive.
Absolutely.
Right. So we pride ourselves on that part of the business, that we really keep that. So we were able to scale ourselves to infinitely as well. The software keeps taking care of things. If we need an extra steam kettle to make more sauce, that's a good problem to have, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Your technology, was that customized or was it off-the-shelf technology of the software? Tell me about that.
Half and half. So we work with a company called Sprout out of New York City, and they've customized their software to work for us. They've done a great base software for meal prep. And since our needs were a little more specific, they had no problem going in and crafting it to work well for us. We had originally designed our own software a couple of years ago. Once you do that, you become a software company, and you have to run that and you have to tend to it. And when it breaks down, you better have techs. And every time it stops working, your cash register stops working. Not only does the cash register start working, but your customers go and they're hitting the button. Hey, why isn't this thing working, right? That's a problem. So we abandoned a pretty significant investment, 6 figures plus, on one that was working pretty well.
Wow.
But it just had some problems here and there. We just didn't want to keep full staff on. So we realized, let's go to somebody who does what they do best, better than us. So we went and I know the owner personally, and it was a good conversation. So listen, that's what we do. We just make software and run it. Like, well, we just make food and serve it. So let's, you do that, we'll do this. So it's been a good, and it's also been absolutely cost effective. They are probably the premier guys, Sprout software, meal prep software. Okay.
Yes. Okay. All right. Is it Sprout software or Sprout AI?
AI.
Sprout AI. A guy called.
No, Michael Rappaport.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. No, fantastic.
Great guy. Great guy to work with.
That's great. How did you hear about them, Benny? We
had a meltdown with our software a couple of years ago, and it was pretty catastrophic. And it took us a long time to try and get it back up. A server overloaded, a database crashed, and the system just didn't work. So while the techs were fixing that, I just jumped online, asked a friend. He says, this is the guy, check the software out. When I got in touch with him, I told him the situation. Usually there's a 2-3 day turnaround time. He says, I'll get you up in 2 hours.
Wow.
So we sent over all our graphics, our logos, everything. We sent our database of menus, everything. 2 hours later, he said, here's your draft. We looked at it. Looks great. We said, push the button. We pushed the button, and that was it. We were back up and running, and we fine-tuned over a couple of days. And like anybody that could pull that off, right? We had the owner of the company jump on and do this. He said, I care about what's happening because we do some pretty good volume. He's like, it must be hurting right now for your customers and for you. Let's get this. And he did. So we've been with them ever since. We've got several properties that we use the software for, and it's been pretty flawless. Their development and continuing development of what they're doing is excellent too. So always new features, always bugs, online chat if there's a problem. which is really important, right? When you're starting out, you're trying to sell those 10 or 20 meatloafs and mac and cheese. It's okay to use Shopify and to use some of the least expensive software. And if it crashes, you can talk directly to your 10 or 20 customers and apologize. You'll be back up right next day. But not when you've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of customers that are trying to hit the site to order their food. And the thing is, it's not a video game for these people. They're busy. That's one of the reasons that they use meal prep. They're busy. They know what they like. They got their favorites saved. They just want to come in. Oh yeah, push the button. I'm in for another week, and they don't want to look and go, huh? They got to go to their meeting. So it's important, consistency and quality, and you're up when you need to be up there. It's like any storefront. Right? So they've been reliable. Thank you, Michael. You can pay me later for this.
Absolutely. So Benny, I think you did describe it earlier. Would you say that you're a food company or a software tech company or both? How would you describe yourself?
I think both, but in the United States, we filed to go public last year. So we're in the process of that, and our tag is technology company, right? Because technology runs what we do. You got to think about us being like a Netflix in a way, right? It's because it's subscription based. Yes. So when you come in, you pick a subscription. I want 2 meals a day, 4 days a week, 5 days a week, 7 days a week.
Yes.
Right? So it could be movies you're buying, right? It could be anything else. Popcorn flavors, it makes no difference, right? But without that tech, right? But we also, because we make the food as well, we're also a food company. And that technology runs it. Like most big co-packers, there's a lot of tech involved, right? It has to be.
Okay, I'm sure. Okay, great. And so does it live as an app on someone's phone or PC? Is that kind of how it works?
Yeah, you can just go to allyourmeals.com, or you can go to, in the States, it's cavemanchefs.com. Those are probably the two best examples, and they format themselves for your phone pretty easily. We'll do an app soon in the future. We know that a couple of the bigger players out there, like Freshly, that have apps, they're not used that often for whatever reason. People like a big screen to look at food, and it's usually only a couple minutes of their time. Maybe someone new might find it interesting if someone sent them a link. But ultimately, we find a lot of our traffic is the web, because you want big, beautiful pictures of food and want to see what you're going to order, right?
Absolutely.
And we have all nutrition information on there, all of macros, all of carbohydrates, heating instructions, storing instructions. Sometimes on the little phone, it's like, $375, $475.
Exactly.
So they can go online and take care of that way. So that's good.
I get you. Okay, great. So, wonderful. So, could you describe what a typical customer, if that exists for you, Benny? Who's your customer?
Yeah, so we've got several brands, so they cater to different customers. One of our brands, Premium Meals, they're more to people who want to bodybuild and have meals that are good for training. And they specifically focus for that. Other brand, All Your Meals, is for everybody. We also offer family-sized meals. So you can get everything from mac and cheese to healthy salads to heavier dishes to breakfast bowls. So we get everybody from professional couples who are working all day, they want to come home, and they just don't want to be bothered cooking. Right? We get same thing with families too. We've got 3 kids, it's the 2 of us. The neighbor's kid comes over. That's a lot of food to make. You just can't order pizza every night. So they get our family size dishes. Whatever we're offering, you can get it in family size for 4 or 6 people. So we get the gamut of everybody, right down to college kids who don't know how to cook, but they're spoiled in a way now because if you roll things back a number of years, date myself, the restaurant experience was a special time to go out, or it was a once in a while necessity, right? Yep. Or you got diner food, which was great, and I'm a super fan of that. But now these days, all the restaurants, especially in the United States, you've got things like Cheesecake Factory and P.F. Chang's, and those flavors are a kaleidoscope. Here in Canada, you've got the local fare like Earl's and some of the other Joey's, and they've got pretty good stuff. But that's restaurant experience. They want that now at home. So they're gonna go home and figure, well, how I make that my favorite dish. Our food is restaurant quality food. The experience you're going to get when you order it is the dish. If we're going to get a green curry prawn dish with basmati rice, it's not going to be something that's like your neighbor made, right? You're going to get something that's like tastes from an Indian restaurant. We're going to make sure that's that authentic. We're trying not to bastardize dishes to a bland sort of version of it. So when you order something that says, a Thai prawn salad, it tastes of that. It's got the flavors of lemongrass and cilantro and lime in it. And that's one of the reasons we have customers who probably save up their shekels or we're half their monthly budget for food because they want that experience every time, right?
Wow.
People are just not happy just making a ham and cheese sandwich at home, right? Yes. Which I am. I'm good with that. And that's why we take a lot of time in developing the dishes as well, right? To make sure that they don't. And the dishes are also created to travel. So when the consumer orders it, we're not sending them a burger and fries. Like that's just not going to work, no matter what you try. And especially when you order from like Skip the Dishes, these places, has a fry ever showed up crispy? Has a burger ever showed up looking anything like it needs to sleep, right?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
You want dishes that make sense, that heat well, reheat well, and hold. And frankly, they spend the night in your fridge, they might even taste better the next day.
Absolutely. And Benny, who do you say are your rivals or competitors?
In the States, probably Freshly's the biggest guys. They started as 4 guys that started in New York City a few years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. They managed to get through their own hard work about 25,000 customers, pretty significant. And over the time, they got up to 1.6 million customers now.
Wow, that is incredible.
They did that. Nestle came in and helped them with a couple of cash injections for technology and for expansion. But at the end of the day, it's still a new business because if you go anywhere in Canada and say, name a meal prep company, maybe someone might say HelloFresh, which is not a meal prep company. The United States, name a meal prep company, they're going to say HelloFresh because Freshly's grown organically and via, forced mind share by millions and millions of ads is how they've done it. But people really don't know who they are still. There's no household name, right? There's no Burger King or Olive Garden or White Spot here in Canada. There's nothing you could say as a name that people go, oh, I love their lasagna. It doesn't exist yet. So we're looking to come in and try and change that. We have a rollout we're going to do at the end of this quarter that's going to hopefully start getting people to feel like who are the people behind this, right? Show me a family that's eating this food. Like a lot of them don't, they're just starting to kind of do that, but it's generic, right? We want to have it so people feel at home with the order, right? And they can see a face behind, right, what everybody's doing. They can see the owners and they can see the workers. They can see how their food's made. They can see a family enjoying it, right? And with a logo that people can come to know and love.
Yes.
That's our 2.0.
Absolutely. No, fantastic. Okay. So Benny, at the moment, how many subscribers do you have currently, and how many do we wish to grow to?
We want to get up to 250,000 subscribers in the next couple of years.
That's great.
We're climbing up there. I can't disclose any numbers specifically, but we're very healthy and we're growing at a rapid pace. Mostly because customer service, quality of food, variety, And now that we're rolled out the second version of the website and our messaging that's coming up, I think it's going to make a big difference. But it's a numbers game. You know, everything comes in through Facebook advertising, Google AdWords, Instagram. We know we spend this much, we get this many signups. We spend this much, we get this many signups. It's just how it is. It's almost like a science. So you put $10,000 in, you're probably going to get 5 times that in signups, right? That's a matter of keeping them. And the average signup is with us anywhere from 3 months to 18 months to some have been with us for 4 years.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we're shooting for the stars. We're heading to the stars, 100%. There's a big space there, and we want to fill it.
Absolutely. No, fantastic. Okay, great stuff. And what are the questions someone who's considering signing up with you? What are the kind of questions that they are, or what kind of questions are important to them when signing up to be a subscriber to your product?
Number one question we get is, what time do you deliver? Even though it said, we tell them on the website, you can pick your 7 to 9 or 2 to 4. That's most important because they want to be home to receive their food. We don't leave food anywhere. Some can leave the box out there. We don't do that. We need to hand it to them, and they need to be home for that. Most times, that's the most important. They have to arrange their entire life for the food delivery. So that's number one as far as before someone signs up. They want to clarify. Okay, it's 8 o'clock, and we provide tracking for them as well. We use a third-party company. Again, we were running our own vehicles and our reefers, and we were managing upwards of 30 drivers. And now we realize we're now a delivery company, right? And we don't want to be a delivery company anymore. And once we did the metrics and had meetings and figure out, let's just pay them to do something they're really good at. We'll stick to doing what we're good at too, right? That and what's any food allergies? We get some of those questions, but most of the time it's when can it get delivered, and when is my favorite dish coming back? Right.
Excellent. Okay. All right. And what kind of pain points do they have, and what things have they already tried before coming to you?
Usually it's skip the dishes and DoorDash and those false economies. Right? When the pandemic took off, we lost customers that were scared what was going to happen financially. Then we gained a bunch of customers that figured this was the way to go. And then there was the ones who left and they realized, well, I don't cook. I don't want to go to the grocery store. Let's order skip the dishes. You pick a restaurant, even as a fast food restaurant, a time food comes for 2 people, it's $60.
Wow.
Right? You're going to get 6 meals out of us for that.
Goodness me.
Right, so those people, they usually come and say, I can't spend any more money at, skip the dishes to get, my favorite stuff from Chipotle. Do you guys make quesadillas or chili? And we have a customer service team monitors. They'll write back, here's a link to our chili. It's on our menu this week, or it'll be on our menu next week. Here's some other Mexican dishes you might find. And if you're used to having them from Chipotle's, we're going to blow your taste buds away with what we're doing here. So that's usually where they've been.
Brilliant. Okay. All right. Excellent. Benny, what do you believe people misunderstand about your industry the most?
That we're meal prep company. So that's the one we have to explain the most, which is why I don't like the name meal prep so much, or prepare, or meal kit, let's say. So they're like, all right, so if I order from you, I still got to cook it. No. Everything comes fully cooked, packaged. Really? Because I just ordered from such and such. They just sent me a box of food. Well, the box of food is twice as much what you're going to spend at the grocery store. You still got to cook it. If you're not a good cook, you're not going to do a good job. If you have kids, everybody's hungry. That's not going to solve anything. And I'm probably going to get flack for this, but a lot of these recipes that come with these meal kits, they're like out of a 1980s Better Homes and Garden. Like, how much drizzle of balsamic vinegar do you want to put on stuff, right?
Yeah.
And if you're not good at cooking,
Yeah.
right, this way, our stuff you can heat in the oven, right? Some stuff's great to heat in the microwave.
No.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay. All right. And what are the biggest challenges you're facing in the in your role of business at the moment, and how are you tackling those, Benny?
Here in Canada, getting people to work is really tough. So getting workers, right? It's an interesting time we're in. I guess, I mean, a lot of them can make a lot more money sitting home playing video games than they can come and working for us, I suppose. That and food costs are always fluctuating. They're getting very expensive too, some of the stuff. So we change our menu to make sure we don't, have to charge $22 for a steak dish, right? Let's take it off and find something else that we can use. But generally, it's it's people, right? They're really tough to find these days, and we're probably paying twice as much for some positions but we don't have a choice, right? That's been a real challenge, not just for us, but for everybody. Here, and also in the United States, you'll see Home Depot, $500 interview bonus. Right?
Wow.
Come just give us an interview, right? So they can lure you in.
Wow.
So and now that we got another lockdown, it's tough. We have a lot of staff that are home because they're sick, not necessarily with COVID, but they're not taking any chances. So definitely employees is a tough one right now.
Absolutely. What positions are the most difficult for you to find?
It's usually the lower positions on the totem pole, dishwasher, prep people. They're the ones that are affected the most, but also compensated the best, right? So they can get a lot of assistance to stay home, right? So I mean, I don't blame them. Like, it's odd what the government's doing, right? They're paying them more to stay home than if they went out and got a job and it was part of the system, right? So that's just not happening right now.
That's incredible. So what would be the incentive to actually come to work then, if there is one?
Personal pride, I guess. that you'll have a job when the free money runs out.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's a fact. I mean, people can get as angry as they want by comments or whatever. But I mean, you can go to the local coffee shop. You'll see a sign on the door. Sometimes it'll say closed between 3 and 6 due to staff shortage.
Goodness me.
Yeah, in fact, right now, one of the clinics, the blood clinic, like ones that test your blood, sent to the doctors, they just closed 15 clinics because they can't get anybody to come in. They're either sick or people don't want to work, or, I mean, that's a big deal, right?
That's incredible. Okay. Yeah. Wow. All right. So Benny, did you always want to be in the food industry?
Well, I've been a super home cook for many, many years, and I trained to be a chef in the 90s and 2000s, and just because I wanted to get under my belt. I loved it. I love the business. I've owned food trucks and restaurants, and my time on Wall Street, I've funded lots of restaurants and the business plans for them. I just love the industry. What I didn't love was the culture of it, right? Just kind of like the culture of bands that play on the weekend, right? I didn't like the, hey man, let's just be loose, and like, food is my art. I don't want that stuff, right? You gotta write a song, sit down, write a song, right? Don't sit around and wait for inspiration. So seeing that in the restaurant, I'm like, I don't really want I don't want to be part of that. But food as an art, okay. Jazz club can have high level music and it'll cater to 30 or 40 people that will be in that club. A high-end French restaurant will have 30 or 40 people. They'll make foie gras dishes. They'll use exotic items and ingredients and techniques. And that group appreciates it. You bring an average person, like burgers and fries, they'll taste foie gras and spit it out, right? So they call that art. I think there's more art to making 50,000 lasagnas that are all the same, all perfect, taste great, same ratio, packaged properly, and sent to anybody to eat. That anybody, the foie gras people will love it, the kids will love it, the families will love it. They've got a nourishing meal in front of them that everybody can enjoy. I thought, you know what? We're a manufacturer. That's what we do. And we have a real responsibility for safety and quality and consistency too. I mean, everything's weighed out that we do. Everything looks the same. You can buy a lasagna from us or a chicken pesto this or a salad that anytime. It's going to look exactly the same, taste the same, have the same components. So that attracted me, right? And then I started looking at the margins to that too, which were, they were great. Like the restaurant, you got to buy all the food ahead of time. In our business, we're paid ahead of time before we have to make the food. So it's a science what we buy. It's a science what we make. It makes it better for the customer, makes it better for us. We have the money in the bank already, right? So whatever we're making is already sold. Again, it brings down to the tech that we have in the software. There's no chef having to guess. I think we'll do 120 tables. Let's do 4 lobsters. Here's your orders. Here's exactly how much chicken you need to make. We'll make a few over in case there's a problem or some spillage, but generally we're in a real tight window of what we'll purchase to make.
No, absolutely, Benny. Benny, what's the one piece of advice you'd give to someone starting out in your career?
Don't do this because you're a foodie. Don't do this because you made a fancy dish for your neighbors and you're a gym rat and you made some healthy keto dishes and you got 10 people or think it's great, right? You get into that, we've seen somewhat of 11,000 mom and pop meal prep companies in the United States dwindle down to almost half of that now because they get into this and we get, not so much today, but last year we were getting a call every other day, please take my company over. I can't do this anymore. Please take my company over. I've rented a commissary kitchen. My food costs are out of control. We're working 16-hour days. I'm like, do you have any chefs in your complement? Well, no, we know what we're doing. No, you don't. If you're not a trained chef, you don't know what you're doing, right? You don't know how to do the metrics behind it. Do you have any good technology that works for you? Well, we have Shopify. Well, Shopify's going to tell you anything. It's only going to tell you how many of each dish to make. So ultimately, they get into this with delusions of grandeur that will be easy road, or they get into it for the love and changing the world. I'm going to change how the world eats, less salt. At the end of the day, they get 50 customers, right? Wow. Now they have to deal with accounting, payroll, taxes. The list goes on and on, right? Yeah. So the two people who love working out at the gym, watching their Netflix, drinking their wine coolers, making their brown rice, something with vegetables and a light curry sauce, now turns into what hell did we get ourselves in, right? Now they're like shutting down, they're in the hole for money, taxes, they're pissing people off, right? So you really have to look at it like a business first, right? Do your numbers, be ready. How are we going to handle, these kind of orders? And that's frankly how we've got some of the clients that we have now. They were meal prep people who had kitchens that they just shut them down, right? They couldn't believe how much it costs to run this stuff. It costs that much to run because if you don't know how to do this, you're going to take a lot of guesses and a lot of swings and misses, and it's going to end up on your credit card that you have to deal with it, right? So,
Absolutely.
That's my best advice.
Absolutely. Benny, if you could be remembered for one thing, what would it be?
Wow, that's a good one. What do I remember to be? That if someone associated me with one of our companies, that we did a good job of what we're doing, and I made someone laugh.
Excellent. Okay. What's a common myth about your job or field or expertise?
That's easy. It's like this. I'll use the rock and roll show example again. This is a good one. Weekend warriors playing nightclubs to 500 people with a couple amps on stage, a few lights, and now you got a smoke machine. That whole weekend gig has nothing to do with, say, a band like Kiss pulling in to a massive stadium and setting up what they're setting up and doing that show. It is not just taking the 4 people from that stage and plunking them on a bigger stage. It's much different. If people came here and saw how the process that we go through to make some of our base sauces and some of our prep, they'd freak out, right? Wow. It's nothing that they would ever think, right? Just like, say you're making risotto. I'll give you a quick example. Everybody makes risotto in a pot, right? You're adding the stock, right? Yeah. We make the risotto, we make it, and it turns out the same way. When you reheat it, it's creamy, it's good. It's all baked. You think we're gonna have, how are you gonna stand around and stir a pot, right, for 800 orders, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Everything's on trays, goes into a special oven called a rationale.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
Right amount of water is added. It's steamed, the oven. So that, and I could give you example after example after example how that food got there has nothing to do with how you would make it at home. Yet it's probably going to be better than what you make at home.
Okay, fantastic. All right. Take me through a typical day. What do you start with, and how does it end? Usually
up early, 5:30, 6 in the morning. I check my email for any fires that might have taken place in the middle of the night. Right? It's always being an entrepreneur, you face that every day. Doesn't matter what business, right? You never know what email is coming, right?
Exactly.
Right? You know, we're out of business. Sorry, we can't deliver the 1,000 buns today. You're like,
wow.
That's how I'm starting so that's the first thing. Get some coffee going, and I hit the internet right away. And the morning's a good time. I'm writing emails, I'm checking accounting, I check all the bank accounts, I check our orders, staff lists, make sure the budget's on point. This is everything that everybody sent me, so I can make sure that it's what it's supposed to be, see what's cleared in the bank, what's not, see what's needed. And that's what we do, till about 9 o'clock. Then the phone starts. Says, apologize, the phone's been going crazy because it's what it does. Everybody's calling about something, right?
No problem.
We have good news, we have bad news. We have good news, we have bad news. So we deal with that. Sometimes it's some new deals, sometimes it's some banking. Then I'll generally head to the kitchen for a quick production meeting and just oversee everything. I'm not hands-on on anything. We have people for that, but it's my job to make sure everybody's doing the job right. So take a walk through the kitchen, the one here in Vancouver, and then I will just take care of corporate work after that. And I'm going to be flying or driving to the States 4 or 5 times in the year. I'll be spending probably a month down there at a time at our other facility doing the same thing as we continue to grow, expand, and do acquisitions, take care of the public company side of things, work with our other shareholders. In Canada, the Canadian Superfresh Foods has probably up around 700 shareholders now. Company, in the United States, All Your Foods USA has well over 7,000 shareholders now.
Wow.
We have a responsibility to them and make sure that get our filings right. We're about to do a financing coming up to expand these in the States rapidly. Again, that's all numbers game, right? Yeah. We know if we put this much in the hopper, we're going to get this much out. So we've been getting ready for the new year for that. We're hoping COVID would relax a little bit more because it does hamper things a little bit. Not as much as it did a couple of years ago, but we're ready to start pushing some stuff that we're doing there. So constantly traveling, constantly keep my eye on the business, never take my eye off it, right? All big decisions come through myself and the rest of the directors and the other shareholders, and we make sure we're making the right decisions along the way to continue to grow the company. As we don't plan on going anywhere soon, we plan on being a household name, right? Probably maybe the first if we can, and continue with the the offerings that we're giving people. What could we offer that will make their lives better and easier and complement what we're already doing?
Excellent. Okay. All right. And what is the most important lesson you've learned over your career, Benny?
Most important lesson I've learned over my career. I don't think there is a most important lesson for me. I'm always learning. Like every day, there's always fine tuning what I'm thinking, what I'm doing, sometimes an approach. Maybe last year I believed in it 100%. I thought I was doing a good job, but then someone shows me something better. I might do a better job for ourselves, right? I think providing great service and communication to our customers is really most important, because the customer is king. And I've always known that. I've always believed that. And now we're just trying to make that even more of an enhanced experience, because food is personal. It's a big part of your day. Just think when a restaurant ruins your lunch. I mean, your day, right?
It's incredible.
It's the worst, right?
It is. Especially if it's the restaurant where you know the meal and how it's supposed to taste. Oh my goodness me.
It's right. So same thing with us, right?
Yeah.
Get those calls, right? The meal I got didn't taste right. Something was missing. So we're trying to make sure we can bridge those gaps and also deal with those situations to the satisfaction of the customer, because they're everything. It's liken it to a rock band or anything like that. Without your fans, without your customers, you're nothing. Right?
Correct. Absolutely correct. Absolutely. Wow. Well, Benny, I think that's all from my side. Thank you so much. I think, this went. It felt like 5 minutes, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're trying to keep it interesting.
It is. And your career's been interesting. Do you keep in touch with the other KISS members at all?
Once in a while. I mean, when we see each other, we say hi.
Wow.
I mean, I was one of the only guys, my band and myself, managed by Paul Stanley from KISS back in the 80s and the 90s for like over 7 years. Did a lot of work with them over the years. My web companies built their websites originally. We built all the Sony signature websites. We've done all kinds of stuff throughout the years. So we've, again, it's that whole artist thing is good in pieces. It's like Gilligan's Island, right? It's good for 30-minute chunks, but I wouldn't want to live there anymore.
Oh, wow. Okay. True. All right. Benny, last but not least, I'm actually a recruiter as well. That's part of my one of my day jobs too. So I actually run I'm proud to actually say that I run an international company that recruits rides around the world. So I've done placements in China. I've done placements in North America and also South Africa as well. So and also Canada. So I'm able to do that because I'm part of a private network called NPA Worldwide. That we are able to find candidates right across the world.
That's great.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, I loved your tweet. I think it's your tweet about I think it was blue cheese and bacon and tomato. It literally made my mouth water. It was so good.
Yeah, all those recipes are on my website, right? And they're all for free. But yeah, that's a good one, right? It looks good.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Wow.
If you put it on a stick, it'd be better.
Yes, that's the one. Excellent. Well, Benny, I'm a fan. Thank you so much. Have a great day further and all the best.
You too.
Okay,
be well.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Goodbye. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this information useful, please click the like button and please subscribe to receive new information from the food and agribusiness industry. Thank you. Goodbye.